Hi, welcome to Sportsy. Let's talk SportsTech. Today we have with us Mohamed Asif, CEO of JUEGO Football. It's an app that enables footballer to play football locally and get scouted globally. Due to lack of access to scouts, talented footballers go undiscovered and scouts miss out on the great talent because of the less of scouting data and of an amateur footballer. The footballer can track their performance in the match they play using the app. The track data is shared with the scouts globally through their platform. So please welcome Asif, CEO JUEGO Football, a Qatar sports tech accelerator company. Hi Asif, great to have you on Sportsy. Let's talk sports tech.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Sid.
And as you know, this today's episode is in association with Qatar Sports Tech. As great to have you here. For the viewers and the listeners, Asif is the CEO of JUEGO Football. JUEGO Football app enables footballers to play football locally but get scouted globally. And this is what we are going to talk to him about in the next 15 minutes of discussion. So, Asif, my first question to you is, how did it all started? Like, what exactly the problem that you're trying to solve and how you're trying to solve it?
So it actually started a long time ago, a few years back, when I was involved in football in India. And what I noticed was like so many talented footballers, when they have lack of access to resources or scouting facilities, they go undiscovered. And the scouts, they don't know about these players because they don't have the data on them, or they're spread out in the area. So I was thinking, well, how can we connect? Because both of them have the problem. So it's like an interconnected problem. And that's when we decided to build JUEGO Football. And that's when the journey started.
Okay, so you're pronouncing it as a JUEGO, not JUEGO. So the
Yeah,
J as a...
it's actually a Spanish word.
Spanish
So
word.
yeah, so JUEGO Football means I play football. So it's
okay, great. So I think I need to correct it when I pronounce it next time. So JUEGO.
Yeah.
Great. And as you said, it started a few years back when you were in India. And so what was the typical thing that you found out and how has been accepted? See, getting a B2C model, getting players is fine, but how are you making the demand supply, basically the management? So what is the...
So for the players, it's very fascinating for them to know that, okay, you can play football locally and, through the application, track your performance and then you get scouted. That's the simple version of it. But when you look at it, how it happens is like every game they play, we track their performance and we have an average analytics. We track their performance from manual verification as well as the wearable devices they wear. And we take the data, our algorithm converts it into football metrics, and then we present it to the scouts and clubs and other academies. So why they prefer us is the biggest question. Why would a club want us?
Yes.
What we do for them is like two things. So imagine a scout coming to visit a player on a football match, and if the player is having a very bad day, that particular day, he misses out his opportunity. So what we are giving them is like 1 month or 1 year of data on this player, his consistency, how good he is, everything to them in a report. And for them, it is like they don't have to go to all the grassroots level communities to find these talented gem of a player. What we give them is on the plate, and they have, let's say, 1,000 footballers in front of them. And out of them, they can analyze what kind of player they want for their club or academy, what kind of player they're looking for, and only give trial for him. So avoid all the cost of, going and finding a player and all the cost of getting the right player. Maybe they get the wrong one and they miss out the right one because the player had a bad day. So that's what we're trying to solve. And if you ask me to put it in a nutshell, it's like giving equal opportunity for everyone. That's what we're focusing on. So players normally, we have to be frank about it. There's a lot of discrimination when it comes to scouting and things. The background you're from, the country you're from, the place you're from, what kind of connections you have, all these factors, indirectly does affect the scouting. So this is something we are trying to, overcome. Every single player deserves to have that opportunity. Whether he utilizes the opportunity or not, that's up to him. That's up to his performance. But giving him that opportunity, that's the vision, what we are working on. Yeah,
Excellent. I think that you put it pretty well about the getting the opportunity. It's not only about having talent. The talent meeting opportunity is
yeah,
the right thing that you're talking about. And it's a good value proposition for the clubs from your side about the whole data and basically avoiding the leakages at their end. So again, you can correct me if I'm wrong. So Juego is a B2C at the player level and a B2B at the club level. Am I right?
yeah, yeah, exactly. So we
Okay.
kind of have two kind of business models. For the players, it's an incentivized platform where they perform and their data is tracked by scouts. And plus, we gamified the experience. Just telling a player that it's a platform where you can connect doesn't initiate them to come and play it. So
Correct.
what we noticed when we launched is like we had two kind of customers. We had players actually playing to go professional, and some players like me who play just for the fun of it, just to stay healthy. So
Right.
what we did is like we incentivized the platform. For every kind of matches you win, you kind of earn points, and then you can redeem with our partners. So there's like a gamification part to it too. That's
Right.
the B2C. And the B2B is exactly for the clubs and scouts, and the response has been very good right now. We are in partnership with 3 academies in India, currently
Mhm.
in test, and we are going to sign a 1-year contract with one of the pro clubs in India, which is part of the Indian Super League. So the announcements are coming soon, hopefully. Yeah,
Nice. Okay. Interesting.
yeah,
That is good to have the validation, right? The academy level, which is a grassroots validation, and the club who is
yeah,
looking for. They will. So people will don't have to go to only Northeast to find the talent. They can actually
yeah,
sit in
yeah,
Kerala or
exactly.
sit in Bangalore
Yeah.
and get the whole.
And to be very frank, what I have noticed on when we go to the ground level of realities, there's so many
Yeah.
talented footballers out there, and they just need that one shot, that
Correct.
one shot to prove themselves. And I think we are kind of India's, if you ask me, is like a talent hub right now. But the only problem is you just don't know where they are. You just
Correct.
and they don't know how to get in touch with us. So that's what we are trying to connect them, these two.
Interesting. So, what is your typical go-to market kind of thing? How do you plan to reach so many footballers in India at the grassroots? And are you going to look at the academy tie-ups, or you're going to go directly as well?
So we do go in both sense, but primarily we go with in tie-ups with academies and clubs, and because that is much more effective channel. Because if you look at a young player, and if you're telling him you want to be part of, let's say, just for an example, let's say you want to be part of FC Barcelona, he will obviously be following FC Barcelona to know
Yes.
how can I get in, and then when they announce something like this, you participate in this application, we come to you and get scouted. That's the best way for us, and that's
Mhm.
the way we are going forward right now, even in Qatar and India.
Okay.
Plus, we do have some tournaments happening in partnership with sports entities outside, which is like for the public. And we had a competition last in January, actually, in Kerala and Qatar, where we were trying to find out the top 11 footballers in that particular state. And
Nice.
the competition ran for 2 months. We did the performance tracking through the application, and 11 players, they kind of won many prizes once they were announced. So, and that one of the top players who got in the top 11 is currently enrolled in one of the academies through our application. So that's
Nice.
also, a kind of validation there. So yeah,
Interesting.
so we do in both sense, but yeah, it's like
Okay.
that's how we go.
Interesting. So one question I have on the similar line is how do you track the performance of a player without the variable, or is the variable mandatory?
Yeah, so there are two ways of doing it. What makes us different from other applications and companies who track is like you need to have their own hardware to track their performance. So, for example, if you go to, let's say, there is sports scouting, and they have their own wearable devices which you have to
Correct.
wear while playing. So, what we do is like we track your performance from your daily wearables. So, let's say you have a Fitbit, or let's say you have an MI band or an iWatch.
Mhm.
Just wear this while you're playing your matches. It normally tracks some of your information from your performance, like any device. What
Correct.
we do is like once you sync the device with our application, we collect the data which is most relevant for a football scout. So like your speed, the distance you're covering, your heat
Mhm.
map. If your device has a GPS, we get your heat map and what position you're playing, and according to that position, are you performing well? And this is the data we are looking for. And manual entry is for coaches and managers. That is for people who are not using devices. So if you're playing, if a coach is monitoring your game as in you're playing, he can manually enter it. So that is also a different segment for people who are not having wearables. But what we noticed once we were in the market is that the trend of having wearables during sports activities is rising on a high level. And there are a lot of people syncing, like most of, like in our application right now, almost like more than 50% of people sync their wearable devices. So it's like a trend that's happening, especially in India, with many wearable devices coming in at much more economical levels. So I think it's the future, and we want to focus there.
Interesting, and it's pretty. It's a need of an need of time for sure, because we are like what to say, breaking the barriers of who can go where
Yeah,
and what can be done.
yeah,
So one question in this whole process, when you talk about breaking the barrier, you're sitting in a place which is Qatar, which is almost kind of a center of the whole world, if you look at it from the both the sides,
yeah.
and a beautiful place called Qatar SportsTech, who is doing a great job, and you are part of the
Yeah.
fourth batch with them. So, what is the role of Qatar SportsTech, and what attracted you to the accelerator?
So Qatar Sports Tech has been very crucial for us in our growth. And if you look at it, Qatar is kind of the football center of the Middle East right now. And the World Cup coming up in 2022, this is one place for any sport tech startup to be. And Qatar Sports Tech is in the center of it all. So if you are a startup and you want to be into this scenario, you have to. It's best to be in partnership with them. And what they did for us is open doors to almost all the academies and football clubs that's possible here. It's the opportunity they bring in, and the training and the mentorship they bring in with the program that aligns us. So if let's say if I was not in QST, if our company was in QST, we might have not been this fast in getting to the places where we are. So it's not just being part of the accelerator, it's the mentorship they give and the access they give us through their partnerships, which is very crucial. And I feel for any sport tech startup in this region, being part of QST will be a valuable thing.
Right. And yeah, I think that is what I think the whole the mentorship network is pretty good, and the visibility. Finally, it's a small place, at the same time
Yeah.
pretty high end on the sports and on the on and also adaptation of sport. So
Yeah.
for you, for Hoego, what is the target that you're looking at? You're looking at India as a growing market as a target, Qatar as a target, or the mature market like Europe?
So we are not looking at the matured markets as of now, because Europe and other countries, they have a well-established scouting system. We are looking at countries whose scouting systems are coming up, who are trying to establish a good system. And India is one of the best markets right now, because they are investing a lot into football right now, and a lot of talents are coming up. And this is one place where we want to be. And Qatar is actually a semi well-established system. They have a good scouting system, but they are looking for local scouting also. So that too is a good place. And Middle East, as in general, after Qatar, if you look at it, we have expansion plans in the Middle East and Africa, which is also upcoming markets. So if I want to say that answer in one sentence, it's like we focus on markets that's upcoming and not just established ones. Yeah.
So, so you're going to the true scouting methodology. You're going for upcoming,
Yeah,
and not
yeah,
the established.
exactly. Yeah. The young talents.
Young
Yeah,
talent.
the upcoming talents. Yeah.
Interesting.
That's what we want to find.
Interesting. And how is the pricing point? Is it the pricing point? It is for you may not have to disclose the pricing amount, but
Yeah.
is it like freemium kind of model for the B2C market, or is it a premium model? How does that work?
So it has a freemium model for the B2C for the players for tracking their performance. They don't have to. There's no charge. They can do it for free. But we have coaching sessions by professional coaches coming onto the platform.
Mhm.
That would be a premium model if they want to access the classes, the master class of coaches, and how you should train yourself and things like that. We have video sessions coming in very soon, so that will be a paid part of it. And for the scouts, we have different contracts and agreements with each club individually, and it's based on that.
Right.
Yeah.
And is there any angle of the kid getting scouted by a bigger club or different club? Is there any commercial angle for me to be qualified for that, or is it's just a transition from being a player on the platform?
So it's actually a transition, if you ask me. It's basically if you have talent and if you are on our platform, you are in the radar of our partner clubs. That's for
Okay.
sure. And if they feel the value, like let's say you are a striker and you're playing, and the club is actually looking for a striker in your age category who has a good performance, you will be called for the trials. It has nothing to do with if there is no commercial angle to it. It's basically if you are performing well, you are part of the scouting list, And if the clubs call you or the academies call you, depend on what kind of position they are looking for. That's the only criteria that there is.
Interesting. So, so Asif, if you may walk us through one of the good case studies during your MVP days, or when you got the first nice client to yourself, if you could
Yeah.
walk us through one of the small case study.
There is a one story I actually tell most of my clients and my mentors is like, we had a session in Kerala actually for an academy. So they wanted to try out our system. So what we said is like, okay, let's try out for 2 months in one particular city. Let's see what kind of traction we get from the players. And we set out, and what the academy was, the academy had a reserve team which was competing, and what they were looking for is a winger in the age category of 15 to 20. So what we did is like, we gave them a report for 2 months out of 500 players in that region for 2 months, and we gave it them. So what they did was like, out of the 500, they analyzed the report and they called in 25 people for trials. So they're very selective. You should see. I mean, the report is very broad, and we gave them a report of all the players playing. We didn't want to avoid anyone because everyone deserves that opportunity.
Correct.
But they looked into it. They specifically looked into the reports and finalized on 25 players. They called them for trials. Out of them, 8 of them went for the final trials, and 8 of them got training from the academy. And out of them, they signed 2 of them. So that's like an ideal story for us. Like, okay, we got 500 players. We bought down it through the funnel. They actually categorized them, and they called only the specific players they wanted to for the scouting, and 2 of them got it. So if you remove the JUEGO Football application from this scenario, what happens is they call all the 500 people for a trial in one single day. If they don't perform well, most of them drop out, and it goes very least effective. And we made it very effective in a small time span. So that's kind of the use case study for us.
And I think that is the perfect pitch as well, as you said, right? It's the perfect pitch for you to make cost effectiveness operationally good. A lot of things are getting done, and and believe me, this is so ideal. And what happened? Kudos to you. And one question that I have here is: there any analysis also you're trying to provide to the players on the video kind of thing? If a player puts a video, and do you give them some analysis around it, or that is you don't want to go there right now?
Right now, we do not have an option of player uploading his videos to the app, but we are giving them an option to upload into our web portal where it's accessed by the scouts. But we are not giving analysis on it yet. We want to because our scouting dashboard works with the scouts and the clubs to understand what they're actually looking for. So what they're looking for is consistency, if you ask me. Right. How consistent is this player in playing? And then they want to take him to a system and bring him up in their kind of method of playing. Every club, every academy has their own method of playing a game. So a football match. So they want to get them in the young age and then convey them through that process and make them stable in their system. So what they're looking for is how consistent he is and how clever he is in judging the game. That's the most important thing for them. Physicality, obviously, it is part of it, but that is like the first criteria you cross when you track.
Yeah. Interesting, Asif. I think this is wonderful use case, amazing problem. There's a big problem, good solution, and I think gamification, AI, reporting, and making it operationally effective. I think it's a big thing, need of a time, need of an hour right now, and you're doing it wonderfully. Wish you all the best, and looking forward to JUEGO getting seen at multiple places, and looking forward to being part of the journey as well.
Definitely. Thanks for having me here. It was nice talking to you. And we hope that more things come up and more things can be done with JUEGO Football. I hope this is a beginning, and we are definitely, the whole team is working hard behind it. And that's the aim, that we want to hit our vision very soon. Yes. For opportunity for everyone.
Inshallah, that will happen soon.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you,
Asif. Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching, thank you for liking, and thank you for sharing. But please do subscribe on our channel Sportsy Says and help us spread the word about Sportsy. We go with the same handle Sportsy Says across all the social media platforms.